So it has been a little bit of time since I've done one of these. I do apologize for that. There's been a lot of hectic stuff going on, but we are back. Episode 3 of Board Game Finds, the series dedicated strictly to board games, and I'm gonna have a little fun with this. Everything here, I'm gonna tell you where I went to get it, how much I paid, and ultimately the savings on there. Now I understand that might rub some people the wrong way, but one of the biggest common myths I hear when it comes to tabletop is that people seem to think that you can't play it unless you pay a ton of money, and this is the point. This is how you try to save a little bit of money, because they can get really expensive, especially some of the bigger marquee games. I cannot tell you the amount of people selling Gloomhaven and Twilight Imperium and the Battlestar Galactica game, and those are easily $100 plus. The cool thing with board games is that they're cheaper than video games, and you can actually find them cheap if you know where to go. So, knowing that, let's get right into it. So the first one, I found at Barnes and Noble, and it's from IDW Games, and that is the Towers of Arcanos. It's probably flipped because I have the camera flip. But Arcanos is a really cool dice and platform stacking game. I don't have too much info on it, but basically I'll give you the rundown. Become wizards and help build the mystical towers of Arcanos. Roll and draft dice that become part of the towers themselves. Learn and cast powerful spells to alter the dice and rise above the competition with strategic moves in this family game of 3D tower building. So how it works really is you have these circular little platforms, and you gotta have certain dice that have certain outcome and little meeples that you have to earn through dice rolling and spells that once you get the right amount, you put another platform and you basically build up. It's kind of a weird, kind of like if you've heard of like Tower, I think it's like Tower Stacker or Tricky Towers. It's a little like that in that regard, where you're constantly building upwards. It's a fun little spin on it. This plays 2 to 4 players, average play time of 30 to 45 minutes, and 12 and up game. I think you could probably go a couple years younger than that, but I wouldn't say too much. This normally, I got this at Barnes & Noble, like I said. That normally retails for about $40. I ended up getting it half off because Barnes & Noble they have clearance tables there. Sometimes they have board games. I do regret a while back they had the expansion for the Sheriff of Nottingham game, which would have added, I think it would have added at least another character or two, and at least one more like sheriff or deputy, which would have added to the beginning phases of the game. But when we get into that game, I'll talk more about it. But yeah, I'm regretting not getting that. If anyone who's played Sheriff of Nottingham knows, like, that is a super fun game where the object is to get your goods into Nottingham, and you have to do so by any means necessary, while one player at the table has to play the role of the sheriff, and you choose whether or not to inspect the goods. So you need to be either really good at bluffing, or you need to master the art of the bribe. So anyway, getting off track here. I got that for $20. Not the most solid of deals, but honestly, this definitely looks like a game I could get to the table. I can teach my wife, I can teach my nephews, and maybe a few other people, and I think this would be a solid game. Definitely not a heavy hitter on my list, but it's one of those, it also just looks cool because a lot of board games just have very solid colors, and part of owning a game collection, you want it to look pretty too. So that was pretty awesome. This next game I got at Target, and this was in their clearance section, so always keep a lookout at the clearance section at Target. I see games in there relatively often. I remember buying a copy of Game of Thrones Catan for $20 last Christmas, I believe. I got that for a relative. And they were selling a copy of Forbidden Sky, which I'm kind of kicking myself in the leg I didn't get, because for whatever reason the price on that game keeps going up. But Regardless, if you're at Target, you're looking to build up that collection, go check out the clearance section. They usually have a good amount of stuff, and this is no different. I found Evolution for $7.98, I believe it was. Normally retails for about $30. Now this is really cool because in this game, you're basically taking a creature, just an animal. It'll give you like starting models of animals to go from, and you're going to be rolling certain dice and acquiring cards to help that creature evolve to get you through like the harsh, wet seasons as well as the different time periods, and your goal is to outlive everyone else by your ability to adapt. It's a really cool concept. I love the idea of having to evolve the creature throughout time, and basically you have a hand in that. What was the oxymoron I heard about this? In a game of evolution, it's us who have to play God. So think what you will on that. I actually told about this game to a pastor at my church, and he goes, "Wait a minute! So it's a game that teaches evolution?" I'm like, teaches is a strong word. I would argue it's like that's the concept, is that creatures have to evolve, and you can choose so by playing certain cards. Like on here, there's cards that have warning call, which allows you the ability to get away from an impending attack, and he thought it was really cool. So say what you will, about the strict church types. They're willing to take a concept like this and run with it if it seems fun, and it is a lot of fun. The downplay with this is this is definitely a game you're going to want to look into some expansions, because a few plays on this and it's going to feel a little drained. However, if you like the idea of taking a base creature and just kind of expanding from it and anything can happen, go for it. Tons of fun. Now these last two games, trying to figure which one I want to do. We'll do this one. So this one is excuse me. This one is for anyone who's going through the Facebook Marketplace and you come across a garage sale listing that had expired, and you might see something in there you like. Always message and ask if stuff is still available. I am glad I did. This is not necessarily a game that's on my list. I have seen it played. I like the idea of it. It seems very cheesy B-movie-ish type horror, and I love that. I saw this game in a picture, as well as a copy of a sealed copy of Catan Seafarers, the 5 and 6 player expansion. He wanted, I think, $20 for that, which is relatively about what it goes for. So when I saw this game, I'm thinking he's probably going to want what it's going for, which is $35 to the $45 range, depending on where you get it online. And keep in mind, a lot of these prices do change. This is what I've seen it as, so if you find it and it's more expensive or it's a lot less, this is what the average prices were when I did my research on it. So I went and looked it up, and he said he only wanted $4 because that's what he listed it at the garage sale, and I got an unplayed version of The Last Night on Earth, which is a zombie survival horror game in which the goal is to make it through the night and escape. If anyone who's watched Will Wheaton's Tabletop, you would have seen this. I don't think this is nearly as good as Dead of Winter, but because the stereotypes of a lot of the characters, it reeks of like cheesy B-rated, like B-level horror. But I absolutely love horror movie cheese. I love it. It is so entertaining. It's so much fun to watch. And that's the feeling you get from this. Although the survival aspect is here, and it's done well. So when I opened it up and I saw that the pieces were unpunched, I'm like, for $4, that's a steal. Plays 2 to 6, ages 12 and up. I definitely would stick with that. Not so much for the theme, but with a lot of the RPG-like elements, because there's going to be a lot of dice rolling, a lot of mathing, and I think 12 is a pretty good age cutoff. But if you like zombies and you like horror game adaptations, dice rolling, RPGs, cheesy horror movies, and this is for you. This is a lot of fun. This is a lot of fun. And for $4, I mean, that right there, I just saved $30+ on it. So, was really happy to get that. And remember, always message people if they still have their ads up on the marketplace, because you never know. Now, this last one is awesome for a few reasons. Number one, when I first saw this game, I saw it on a Dice Tower video. And what it is, without looking at it, I'll read it. Players take on the role as two hikers as they trek across a new trail each season to see sights and visit parks. Each journey is unique with gear, canteens, and photos earned along the way. So, if you know which game that is, comment below before I mention it. Beautiful, beautiful game. No two games are ever going to be the same, because each season is going to be different. You know, whatever you encounter is going to be different. The scenarios are going to be different. But it's a $50 game. And in the land of tabletop, $50 for a game like this, and I've only seen it in Target and in Barnes & Noble. I've never seen it anywhere else. Amazon included, but I only count the stores I can actually physically walk into. Looked really cool. I like the idea of the game changing along with you, and you being able to manage what resources you have along the way. But $50 for a new game, and when you're in the process of moving, that's kind of a tough buy. So I decided to wait on it, and what ended up happening was one day, I had the car at home. My wife had actually gotten a ride to work that morning. This was a Friday. So I thought, okay, well, I'll take the car and do some errand running around, and lo and behold, I go into Goodwill and I see this for $2.99, and I had to get it. And that is Parks. Now, don't let this little box fool you. This thing is packed. Like, I don't know if you can see it. Like, this thing, it doesn't fully close. There's just so much stuff. I'll see if I can show you just what we're dealing with here. Yeah, like, this thing is just full of cards and little icons and all kinds of stuff. Oh no, the player tokens went all over. Oh no. Sorry, little maintenance cleanup here. But yeah, oh gosh, it's such a mess. Let's try to fix this a little bit. There we go. Now we're cooking with Crisco. Yes, a very big game on traversing the wilderness through different seasons. A lot of fun. The theme of this is really cool. I'm not really much of a hiker, but for some reason this caught me. I don't know if it's because like all of the little pieces are all like wooden carved, or like the whole concept of using your different resources that you gather to do different things, making sure you're hydrated, making sure you have the right, using your campfire tokens at the right time. There's just a lot going on with Parks, and it's one of those games where you see it, you watch a few videos on it, and you're like, yes, I want that. Which is kind of like how I feel now with a certain game called Space Base. So maybe that will be in a future video. I don't know. So paid $3 on this. Was 99% complete. It was missing two. Two pieces. It was missing one forest figure and one mountain figure piece, and they're both wooden carved. Now, worst case scenario, I could have gone to a craft store, because I'm all about finding solutions to like missing pieces. It's really not that hard. Go to a craft store and find like little marbles or like just some kind of little wooden pieces to basically remedy the missing pieces. But I actually reached out to the people to Keymaster Games, and told them wasn't being 100% upfront with where I'd gotten the game, but they didn't ask. I said, hey, this is missing any pieces. What do I do about this? Thinking maybe I'll have to pay like a couple dollars or at least pay shipping to send them. So I gave them the information. They said that, I'll hear back from them in a couple of days. And wouldn't you know it, a couple days later, there's a padded envelope and they basically gave me the replacement pieces for free. So for $3, I have a $50 game in Parks, which is a great value. Paid $4 for about a $35-ish game there. Paid about $8 for about a $30 to $40 game right there. And the most I paid was $20 for Towers of Arcadia. So we got a sightseeing resource management game, a dice drafting tower stacking game, a card management deck builder, I'd almost want to call Evolution, and Last Night on Earth is a survival horror. So let me know what you thought about any of these games. Would you want to sit down and try to play maybe one of these? And why? What catches your fancy about it? Sometimes it can be just as simple as the artwork, but you let me know in the comments below. And until next time, guys, hope I can keep finding cheap games, because some of them are getting pretty expensive out there.